We welcome you back to Vysočina Arena in Nove Mesto na Morave, Czech Republic, or Czechia as we're going by now. You have to break those habits of old references to nations, but a beautiful but foggy evening, cold and humid, over 90% humidity and fog in the air. And it is the women's 12.5 kilometer short individual, the 6th of 9 stops on the BMW IBU World Cup Biathlon circuit. Second day of competition of 4 here in Nove Mesto prior to the all-important Olympic Games in Milan Cortina. This is the final test for the women to get a chance to test out their nerves on the individual competition, an event that is shortened to 12.5 kilometers from its normal 15. And a normal 15-kilometer one was held earlier in the opening round of Östersund in November, December up in Sweden. So this is the only second time they've gone up there to do this event. And there is the winner of that event, Dorothea Viera, a bit of a surprise. Her first win in 5 seasons in this discipline, in this longer form of this discipline. They'll shorten it by 2.5 kilometers today, maybe to save a little bit of energy for the Olympics and draw more folks to the competition. Scott Dixon, a British biathlete and current coach, with me, Chad Somla, on the mic again tonight in Nove Mesto. Scott, it's going to be a great competition. Lot of humidity. How will that affect the athletes?
Yeah, it's certainly going to have an impact, but I wouldn't say as much as the impact that the snow conditions themselves are going to have. So the later the starter, the more they're going to have to pay attention to where they ski on the track. If they go right through the center where it's most dug up, then that will slow them down. So they need to be quite sensible about their line that they take throughout the race.
93 starters on the start order today. We are missing a lot of big names, including the top Norwegians, except for Ingrid Landmark Tantrevold and Juni Arnekleiv. They've made their Olympic team, but the rest of the Olympic, the rest of the Olympic 5, 3 of them are off on training camp. So we will have no Maren Kirkeide from Norway, nor Carolina Knoten, nor Marta Krokstad Johansson. They are off training, as well as Sweden's top athletes are taking hiatus and preparing for the Olympics as well at high altitude. Hanna Öberg, Elvira Öberg are not on the start order for Sweden, and we're having basically a dual selection race today or the weekend for Johanna Skottheim from Sweden and Anna-Karin Heidenberg. Heidenberg will go out in bib 15, Skottheim in 31, and that's nervy stuff, Scott, with the Olympics just around the corner. Those two athletes have to kind of do battle with each other in this World Cup field.
Yeah, and I really feel for Skottheim. She's been there or thereabouts for such a long time, but only had 70 starts. And this really is, I would say, quite likely the last opportunity she's going to get to go to the Olympic Games. And I think Heidenberg has a slight advantage, not only in age, but in the fact that she's had some more recent performances on the World Cup that are going to make her look good in terms of the selection committee. So I think it will be a good battle, but I'd say Heidenberg's my favorite.
So an abbreviated field really. Still 93 competitors on the start. You see Natalia Kosagina of Lithuania finishing out the start order. But a lot of the athletes that are picked for the Olympic Games are absent. In fact, only 7 of the blue group, the athletes seeded from 16th overall in the World Cup to 30th are on the start today, and only 11 of the 15 for the red group are. So a little bit more at the top of the field, a little bit more presence. But we'll run through that as we go along. We've seen a couple of athletes do that and not show up at certain World Cups so far this season. Oberhof was an example where the Italians didn't show up. Dorothea Vier and Lisa Vitozzi were absent, but now an opportunity for them to come back and get some points back from those people who are absent today. So that preparation, Scott, really, really critical for these athletes, and they're willing to give up World Cup points to get ready for those games.
Yeah, and also nations are willing to give up Nation Cup points, which is a significant deciding factor. There's some athletes who have the star power to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, deal with it. But a lot of the nations will be the ones who call the shots and say, actually, no, it's more important that we get these Nation Cup points than you go and do your best preparation. But I think there's a balance, and I think a lot of people view the Olympics, and a lot of teams, a lot of individuals view that as the absolute very best, most important thing. But not such a huge amount of these athletes, as we're only absent 6 or so.
All right. So the Olympic picture, a big deal and a big part of the story here in Nove Mesto na Morave for the second night of competition. They will do a mixed and single mixed relay tomorrow on Saturday. The mixed relay in the Olympic repertoire, the single mix not. And then we'll close it out with mass start competitions using the top 30 or top 20 or so athletes from the World Cup and the best athletes here on this start order. And really important there to try to be in the top 15 at the end of the World Cup standings on Sunday to get into the mass start in the Olympic Games. A lot of athletes shooting for that as well. As we go to bib number 1 now, a woman who finished her personal best, 8th place in the World Championships here 2 years ago in this event. So Kristina Dimitrenko gets things started on this second day of competition with a place she has great memories of, an individual at the World Championships 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, and also her two of her 3 best results ever, an 8th and a 12th, were both here on this course.
One of the athletes who has stepped up in recent years, the pole, the 34-year-old, or 26-year-old, excuse me, stepping up to the 34th overall standings of her career. That's the highest she's been ranked since 2024, where she was 56th. So bib number 2, Joanna Iakiela, currently ranked 34th in the overall standings, is on course as well. Getting a look at bib number 5, Ingrid Landmark Tendvold. She has been named to the Norwegian Olympic team despite having a rough season so far. She'll go out number 5 today. Leah Meyer, our next starter from Switzerland. The 24-year-old having her best season of her career, ranked 36th, which is well above where she's ever been ranked so far this season. Her previous best was 69th at the end of the 2023 season. So running good. These first 3 athletes all having very good seasons. As Anna Gantler steps into the start, she's a kind of a Austrian royalty. Her father, Olympic silver medalist in the classic 10-kilometer at the Nagano Olympic Games in cross-country skiing. Her mother, I believe, is a great alpine skier as well, but Anna Gantler on course for Austria.
Yeah, and 4 out of her best results have actually come from Canmore and Soldier Hollow, so she likes to be over the other side of the ocean.
Well, we'd like to have her there. We love having the World Cup in the United States and Canada when we get the chance, but here is the figure of Ingrid Landmark Tendvold. She comes off an 11th place finish in the opening individual. It's her best performance all season. The opening race in Östersund, where she finished 11th place. She's currently ranked 41st in the World Cup standings. Has every opportunity and has all the ability to pull it off, but Scott, she just has the shooting demon in the standing position.
Yeah, it's really tricky as well, because the more, and of course it's inevitable, people will talk about it, but the more it's discussed and the more it's shared on social media, the harder it becomes for her unless she's able to completely close off from it. But even if you still hear or infer the voices that people are going to be saying, the comments that they'll make, and that can really trip you up as well.
Her experience is stellar, though, and she is one of 9 World Cup winners in the individual competitions format. Tendvold had a win in Oslo in 24 in this event, and so did this woman. This is Kuzmina. She's not won, but she's been on 3 individual podiums. She's won plenty. This is Anastasia Kuzmina making a comeback at 41 years of age She is two-time back-to-back sprint Olympic champion. Has not reached the fitness that she exhibited earlier in her career, but at 41, still an amazing comeback for her so far this season. She has 18 World Cup victories to her credit, the most of the field.
Getting a great look at this hill, and you can see the snow already a little bit churned up. That's as a result of the warm-up laps that these athletes have done over the course. But now selecting your line on this hill will become ever more important after each lap.
You see Judita Traubaitė of Lithuania hitting the course, bib number 8. But let's talk a little bit about this venue. This is a great venue, Scott. It was basically reconceived and it got first noticed during the Tour de Ski in the cross-country side of things in 2007. And they rebuilt the venue for biathlon and started hosting World Cups in 2012. And by 2013, it was a phenomenon. They held the World Championships here in 2013, and the crowds were amazing. And it carries that reputation to this day.
Yeah, and I remember the road all the way to this venue was so clogged up with so many people wanting to come and watch. And it's no surprise when the likes of Tandrevold, who you can see now doing V1, skate one up this extremely steep hill, she brings so much entertainment value to a venue like this, as we saw last year in the sprint, where she did overcome those shooting demons, as you said, Chad, and she took the victory on that instance. So she's capable of it last year, she's capable of it again today.
Joanne Reed, bib number 10 from the United States. She gets her first World Cup start of the season in an individual competition. She was part of that relay team that finished 6th in Oberhof. She was named to the Olympic team recently and is one of the quartet that will race in Milan Cortina. It's her 3rd Olympic Games. And Joanne Reed back on course at 33 years of age for the United States. We go to bib number 11. Chasing her out of the start is Ekaterina Abakumova, racing for Korea. Here is Kuzmina now at the 0.8 kilometer mark. Just the early time checks will give you a good impression of how the athletes will likely carry their speed over the entire 12.5 kilometers. Right now, Gantler starting very quickly. Kuzmina 4th, just ahead of Tandrevold, a half a second ahead. So Kuzmina, at least in the early going, being competitive on the skis.
She's got such a lot of upper body rotation as well in her technique, which you can see not just in the uphill technique, but also in V2.
There you see bib number 12 heading out of the start. That is Ukelek Astrid Slettemark from Greenland. She'll be followed out by bib 13 and a roar from the crowd, Jessica Yizlova of Czech Republic. She's the first Czech athlete out on course, and the roar raises in the crowd as she heads out.
It's one of the aspects of this stadium that you just cannot forget. When you race there, when you ski there, you can hear that roar and it echoes all around. And especially for those from Czechia shooting today, they're going to have to combat not just the physical torment of cross-country skiing and trying to point that rifle and shoot accurately, but also the sound of thousands of people roaring after every hit.
So Tandrevold still trailing in 4th place, 7.4 seconds back at 1.6 kilometers. And not exactly a good omen for Tandrevold at this point, but maybe just trying to keep things in control. But here is one of the 2 Swedes we know for a fact is trying to make an Olympic team this weekend. Anna-Karin Heidenberg trying to make her case for why she should be the final woman on the Swedish Olympic roster.
She had a fantastic European Championships last year, taking every single color of medal that is available there with the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
It was the World Cup best in this short individual, this very event, in last season's version of this event in Pokljuka. She was 4th. It was Heidenberg trying to channel some of those vibes to get into the Olympic team in Sweden. Such a hard team to make, one of the best teams in the world, if not the best. Currently leading the relay rankings. And you see Joanna Jääskeläinen now coming in 10.9 seconds in the lead from bib number 1, Dimitrenko. Dimitrenko was perfect, and Jääskeläinen has ejected around, it looks like.
Yeah, and then just loading a spare, so all the biathletes, they carry a spare with them. So in the instance of a double ejection, they can load that in. But unfortunately, Yakiela wasn't able to get the precision for that final shot.
So Dimitrenko's relatively pedestrian ski speed has opened the doors for Leah Meyer now, who is 15.3 seconds faster than her around the first 2.5 kilometer loop.
Yeah, really nice controlled shooting there. 3 seconds or thereabouts between each shot. A total of 28.7 seconds to get all of those 5 targets down. And of course, for every single miss that we have today is 45 seconds added on as penalty to their cumulative ski time.
So Leah Meyer comes in with 16 seconds back and leaves the shooting range at about the same amount. She gains a second, and Gauntler with a miss as well. So not great shooting so far. Four athletes through. 2 clean, 2 with a single miss each, and here comes Tannervold now as bib number 5. And she will trail the time of Meyer by 3.7 seconds.
Now, Tannervold really having to focus in and worry about her own process. She shifted her elbows there just to make sure her alignment was right, but always risky. Once the elbows are down, you want to keep them fixed. Central. Extremely accurate for the first 2 shots. Likewise, the third right in the middle. Good. Clean.
Deliberate shooting, clean, what you need to get started. She's giving time away, Scott. Do you think that's by intention, just to get those shots down?
Yeah, for sure. That was very deliberate, slow shooting. And the first 4 shots were exceptionally accurate. They probably were, 3 of them were a 10, for sure. 1 of them maybe a 9, close to 10. The last one a bit high right, but it was very accurate. And I think that her strategy today is to focus on her process. And so far, so good.
Now we get the shooting of Anastasia Kuzmina. She is she has a miss, starting her 278th World Cup start, or World Olympic and World Championship start total. And a miss will cost her 45 seconds. She'll trail Meyer, who's clean, and Gauntler with 1.
Still slow shooting there, 36 seconds.
As Polona Klemencic, bib 22, heads out on the course. Klemencic, a 28-year-old, currently ranked 20th in the individual standings. Basically, they've had 1 individual so far this year, and that's where you're ranked. Ben Lehtinen, number 9, she was 26th in that opening individual in Östersund, as her coach looks on. She's leading by 0.7 of a second over Meyer.
It's a lovely rhythm. 2.4, 2.3, 2.5 between shots. Last one, 2.6. And the 5th target goes down. Great shooting. Lovely consistency between shots for Lehtinen.
Yeah, when you hear that cadence, it almost feels like it's subconscious what she's doing, and that's kind of what you're looking for as a coach.
Yeah, it's what these biathletes, they work on all summer, is trying to find a routine that works with their exertion. If they're really tired, they're going to know exactly what they can sustain in terms of breathing between shots to get the targets down. The challenge is doing that in a race.
Well, Lehtinen puts that cadence to work and takes the lead by 2.4 seconds over Leah Meyer. Now we're looking at the efforts of Joanne Reed from Colorado. She is a member of the University of Colorado Athletics Hall of Fame as an NCAA ski champion back in 2013. And she has 1 miss, and that'll drop her a little ways down the standings. She came into the shooting range in 8th spot after the first lap, and she'll leave in 10th. Bib 26, as the crowd raises their voices for the home country athlete, Teresa Vornikova, 25 years of age, has yet to get a podium finish. She was 5th in the individual in Oslo 2 seasons ago, so she likes this competition. This is her high water mark, this individual competition. Now, although this is just shorter individual, just 2.5 kilometers shorter than the normal 15 kilometers. 45-second penalty per miss. Here's Sonia Lennamo now. She started the season with a bang, came out, nearly won, lost the initial individual competition, hitting 19 for 20 on a very windy day in Östersund, and she lost to the great Dorothea Viera by 0.3 of a second. Boy, would she want that one back. But still, Leinamo has not done much since. We'll see if she can pull it off today.
Yeah, and in fact, her last result was 92nd. That's missing half of the targets in the sprint and Ruhpolding. So it would be a tough one to replicate, but perhaps the pressure is down. And we'll see what she can produce, Leinamo from Finland, by the end of today.
Here is a credible challenge on the time of Lehtinen, just 0.7 of a second in the lead. Sophia Schneider. Schneider is a 73% prone shooter by reputation so far this season. She's better at the standing, 80% there. Trying to go 100 here, though, if she wants a chance at the lead.
Again, shooting very slow, which is commonly the case in individual races. You don't want to rush those targets, and successful strategy from Schneider there gets the targets down, but it is in a slow time of 41.9 seconds. That's very much on the back end, and if somebody is able to get all 20 targets down in 30 seconds, and the likes of Schneider is taking 41 seconds each time, that's 11 seconds every time they visit the range, 44 in total.
Yeah, Schneider, she gets the targets down, but she's not a newcomer either. As we see Lou Jean Monod, the yellow bib, the World Cup overall leader, heading out on course. Jean Monod, the first of the red group, and as I said, only 11 of the 15 red group athletes on the starter order today, so she's got a little bit of a weaker field to contend with to hang on to that yellow bib. But Schneider took her time there, Scott. She's seasoned on the World Cup. She's got 74 starts, no victories. She's been fifth twice, and giving up a little bit of time there to Lehtinen. And here is the efforts now of bib number 3, Leah Meyer. Sometimes, Scott, you see these early starter order starts where these athletes just get a lead and can hold on because they're not really thinking about anybody else and just in their own world.
Yeah, and Sharvatova, top right of your screen as well. Fastest time on the skis so far coming into the range, but a miss there from Meyer. And the last two don't go down, the worst two to miss. So Meyer adds 90 seconds to her ski time with those two missed shots. And Lucy Sharvatova, who came in with 10 seconds to spare. A deliberate Scott, 77.4 seconds to solid shooting. Yeah, really fast skiing coming into the range and great shooting so far. Of course, there's 3 more visits to go for Sharvatova, but a great start. Lucy Sharvatova has a World Championship medal from 2017. Her top performance, she leads by 10.2 seconds early in the going here in Nove Mesto na Morave. Her home crowd urging her on. And just across the border from Slovakia comes in Paulina Batovska-Fialkova, and she is a credible threat. Just 1.1 second back of the Czech athlete Sharvatova. As Anna Magnusson gets ready to start in the outbreak for Sweden. Batovska-Fialkova's never won a race. Her best was second here in the mass start. And that's a perfect start for Batovska-Fialkova. 31 seconds, a nice relaxed shooting pace, but getting in a bit of a tangle there as she comes out of the shooting range. So tight, the proximity leaving the range. As we see Tendervold now, she is 8 for 8 to Tendervold, but Batovska-Fialkova is going to fall just 2.7 seconds off the lead. So it's Sharvatova from Batovska-Fialkova from Lehtinen, and Tendervold goes 9 for 10. Not a bad start, 90%, 18 out of 20. It's always it's painful to hypothesize and imagine in your head what you can do because that can be distracting. But Tendervold, it's a good start for her. Anna Juppe now finished 32nd in the opening individual competition of the year, and the woman who won it is in the breakout box. That is Dorothea Viera. She has, count them, 7 individual victories in her career. She's got a total of 17, so 7 of 17 are individual wins for Dorothea Viera. You have to consider her a favorite. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm impressed to see Juppe of Austria and Gandler skiing really fast on lap 1, and we'll see how Hauser does on the skis, but it could imply that the Austrians are skiing well today.
Lena Horodna, bib 37, getting her start, chasing Dorothea Viera. She's sandwiched between two of the most decorated athletes in the field. You've got Dorothea Viera ahead of her in bib 36 with 17 victories to her career. And Julia Simone with 15 victories, chasing her by 30 seconds back. Here's Venla Lehtonen now with a 49.5 second lead. And that will be dropped almost completely off with a 45 seconds added for that miss. Trying to keep it 9 for 10. And there's another miss. Lehtonen thinking about it now.
And now Hauser, top right of your screen. She gets the first two down, but misses the third and the fourth.
And the skiing isn't there either, Scott.
No, it's not. Her teammates skiing really quick, stealing her thunder somewhat, but two mistakes, 1 minute 30 penalty time added on. That's really painful.
So Lehtonen, who led early, leaves shooting number 2 now with 2 mistakes, and that will put her into the 6th spot, 49.6 seconds back with 2 misses. Because Kuzmina leading with 1, Tannervold trailing by 29.5 seconds. So a lot of room for, after shooting 2, for a lot of people to move ahead of the current leader Kuzmina with a miss.
Yeah, and Camille Benet, she'll have been watching and receiving information about the range conditions. Are they different from when she zeroed? And she's one to look out for today after having been selected for the French Olympic team.
Here is the host nation athlete, Teresa Vobornikova, and she's clean, trailing by 10.2 seconds coming in, but it's pretty quick shooting. Leaving the range, she won't overtake Juppe, but she should move into or close to 4th with Lehtonen. Should be very tight.
And Chad, it's not all over if there are misses in the early stages, as long as you're skiing well. We saw yesterday with Emilien Claude in the individual for the men. He missed 2 on the first visit, and then he hit the rest of the targets and was able to get into the flower ceremony.
You can always dig yourself out once you've dug a hole in the first one, but you've got to go clean from that point on. As we see, Lisa Vitozzi, she is the reigning world champion, or excuse me, she was the world champion here on this venue 2 years ago when the World Championships happened the second time in Nove Mesto. Great memories of that victory for her on this course as we go to Jean Richard, bib 28, who misses her second shot already. So she's 50-50 on the first 2, gets her third. Richard, everybody taking their time on the range, Scott. It's not terrible shooting conditions, but it seems like the gravity of the misses are really in everybody's head so far.
Yeah, and I'm not always convinced. What a shame for Yusufa there. Just, you could see exacerbated by that last miss. To miss 3 out of 5 is certainly painful, but in front of your home crowd makes it all the worse.
Sophia Schneider not able to hold it together either. The shooting is pretty rough at this point in the competition through shooting 2. As 3 misses for Schneider is going to plummet her down the standings after shooting number 2. Lou Jean-Minot now not able to take down the time of Sharvatova. This gives us a really good sense of how fast Sharvatova skied that first lap. She's faster than Jean-Minot by 4.1 seconds.
This is accurate shooting now from Lou Jean-Minot. And a great start, 5 out of 5. A little bit close on the bottom with that last shot, but it went down.
I was going to say a little bit of luck there at 6 o'clock. She just tripped that target and keeps herself clean. Still going to trail Sharvatova, though, and fall outside the top 3. She's in 4th, 6 seconds out, but she's got a good start going.
But to be 11 seconds down after the first lap, either she's pacing herself well, but you can actually see the wind here. Looks at Scott Time's hair. You can see that gusting wind, and that does have an impact on the shooting. And I wonder if that's been what's causing some of the misses we've seen.
This is the first we've seen. We haven't seen a good shot of the wind flags, and we haven't seen the wind graphic pop up. Usually when the wind starts to increase, the graphic will pop up from the producer of the show. We haven't seen that yet, but we saw that in the telltale signs of the wind in Scott Time's hair. She's got a miss. Sharvatova's 3 for 3 standing too. Oh, and there's the first miss.
Whereas Breza Boucher goes clean, 5 out of 5. But not only that, she's skiing so quickly, 6.6 seconds ahead of her closest rival as she entered the shooting range.
So Breza Boucher will fall out the time of Sharvatova a lap back of where Sharvatova is currently. Sharvatova has 1 miss from the standing now, 9 for 10. And she will move into... She comes through the time check. She'll still lead by 5.5 seconds will Sharvatova after shooting number 2. Anna Magnuson now, bib 34 from the first shooting stage as Francisca Preuss loads into the start gate. Preuss, the World Cup overall winner from last season, but has had illness to start this season and is trying to find her fitness. Anna Magnuson, who led early in the World Cup standings, had the yellow bib for most of period 1, now has a miss as well, and that'll put her down the standings, and she's not even in the top 15 at this point. Meanwhile, Paulina Batowska-Fialkova goes 8 for 8, misses the 9th shot.
She readjusts there. You can see it moving her right foot into a more optimal stand position. Maybe she got a little bit nervous on that 4th shot.
We're seeing tougher shooting conditions and worse scores in the men's competition yesterday. The wind probably looks a little less consistent and maybe picking up and dropping at times. It's on a starts with a miss.
Yeah, looking at the hair of the of Yupa there, you can see it just there is wind impacting the shooting now. The question is how much, and I'm looking forward to seeing down the range, looking at those flags to get a real sense of what the biathletes are experiencing. But Dorothea Viera, straight out the gates with 2 misses, that's not a good start.
No, it's the stars are not rising to the top. It's still Lucy Sharvatova at the top at the end of 2 shooting stages, leading even with a miss. Actually, the Slovakian Batowska-Fialkova, who just shot, has now taken the lead at the 2nd shooting stage with a miss, 2.8 seconds ahead of the Czech athlete Sharvatova. Kuzmina from Slovakia in 3rd. So Slovakia is 1 and 3 right now after shooting 2.
Tanja Vold with 1 miss there in her 2nd visit to prone. So that's now a miss in stand and a miss in prone. But so far so good. All now resting on her final stand. But Kuzmina, that's a disaster.
4 misses, and the wind has to have changed. Something has had to change. And if you're picking
Look at
it
the
up,
wind flags.
Yeah, they're almost flat.
Yeah. It must be gusty. That's the only real explanation for why we're seeing such contrast. But Simon now either arriving with some luck, but the targets are going down easily.
Well, I think she may have gotten the lull there, Scott, if I had to guess. If the wind is causing problems, the wind looked good for Julia Simon, and she is not going to take the lead, but she is going to put herself well within striking distance of it. She'll come through 8.2 seconds back in 6th, but that's good enough. Simone with 2 individual victories in her career and is the 3rd most decorated winning athlete in this field, tied with Jean Monod with 15 total World Cup wins. As we go to Anastasia Tomacheva of Romania. She's clean through prone and standing and now into her 2nd prone stage. She's not lighting it up on the skis, but she's shooting well, which is what the individual is all about.
Yeah, really good shooting so far.
You can see the thread on her transponder blowing in the wind, but it doesn't look quite as bad as we've seen it, and she stays clean. So Tomacheva of Romania chasing the time of Dimitrenko, who has a miss on the day. She falls outside that time. And she's not competitive in the ski speed, but putting 15 shots for 15 in the books keeps her among the leaders. Rybornikova with 1 miss.
In a time of 27.9 seconds, so it's reasonably quick.
Lisa Vitozzi now. Sharvatova's time clearly just got 12.5 seconds to the first shot.
Wow, that's confidence there. Great shooting from Lisa Vitozzi.
And with all the struggle of the rest of the field, that is a kind of an outstanding shooting performance comparatively.
Yeah, and we saw it with Simon as well. She came out of, or onto the range with almost no wind, and whereas we did see some wind before that on the hair of some of the previous biathletes.
Vitozzi now your leader after the first shooting stage by 4 seconds over Lucy Sharvatova. Further down the field, or further down the race course, Sharvatova, after 2 shooting stages, has a miss and is trailing Katerina Batovska-Fialkova by 7.1 seconds.
Well, Amy Beserga is certainly one to watch for me if she can get the targets down. She's in great skiing form, with the third fastest ski time in the pursuit in Ruhpolding, and the targets are going down fast. It's accurate shooting. Great start from Amy Beserga.
Beserga has an uptick in her fitness, and she's a great shooter by record, and she's going to fall outside the time of Vitozzi, but should be in the top 5 at least, as Jean Monod is 3 for 3. Amy Beserga into 4.5 seconds back, and Jean Monod goes clean from shooting 2. So Beserga moves after shooting 1 into third, while Lou Jean Monod is going to lead by almost a minute after shooting number 2. And that's because she's clean.
Yeah, just very, very dominant right now. And actually, there's only 3 biathletes so far who are clear to this point. Jean Monod, one of them, Drobete of Lithuania, and Tomasheva of Romania.
Here's an athlete in the first shooting stage who is challenging the time of Vitozzi and Sharvatova. But a miss for Michelin will drop her down as her teammate comes in to shoot from the standing position. Michelin, 4 for 5. But more importantly, Bryce Boucher is 10 for 10.
Oh, fantastic shooting there. And once again, it was slow. 29.4 seconds for stand, whereas it was 46 seconds to get all of her targets down in prone.
So Justine Bryce Boucher, she is yet to get on the podium this season, but she's shooting well today to take the lead by 3.1 seconds over Lou Jean Monod. It's France 1 and 2 after shooting 2.
If it all came down to ski speed, Bryce Boucher would be repeatedly winning races. Adjustments there from Sharvatova, moving 2 clicks to the left, indicating a left to right wind that's moving the rounds.
Oh. I was just going to say, Sharvatova is showing a little bit more composure. She's got a long career, but has never really put together the two pieces consistently together. She does have a World Championship medal from 2017, as I said, but that medal is a long time ago and long in the tooth.
You can see Batovska-Fialkova's got a very right-leaning prone position, almost like the rifle's canting, and her body weight is almost pressing against the side of the rifle, which is unconventional. But 2 of those targets don't go down. It was a good start, but it's gotten a little bit worse for Batovska-Fialkova.
She might figure into it if down the field more and more people keep missing. But right now, with the 2 French women, both Lou Jean Monod and Justine Bryce Boucher, she just can't compete with her ski speed and have 3 misses.
Yeah,
here's Vera with 2 more.
A miss as well.
Yeah. Oh, so almost like Sebastian Samuelson yesterday, Dorothea Vera having a bit of a meltdown on the range. She's only hit 6 of 10 targets so far, and will be outside the top 30.
Yeah, it calls into question whether the success of Hofer yesterday has a psychological impact with the momentum of the Italian team on the rise, and all of a sudden there's expectations of results.
Here's
Big
an opportunity
moment now for Tandrevold.
Yeah, here's an opportunity for Tandrevold to kind of slay her standing shooting demons. She's missed 2 shots total on the day. That'll be her 3rd. Trying to backstop the mental slide here and hit this last shot. And she does.
Yes. Brilliant.
Good performance. Not going to be a win today for Ingrid Landmark Tandrevold, but 17 for 20 is a step in the right direction. We have not seen her hold it together quite this well for some time in the standing position.
And it's interesting, Chad, because she shoots the target that she missed. She doesn't move on to the next target in a consistent rhythm. That must be a strategy.
Here now, Julia Simon, shooting number 2, chasing Bryce Boucher. It's all French at the front, but Simon misses. She was matching that. She was almost matching the times of Bryce Boucher and her teammates, but Simon will now drop to, because she's going to drop into outside of 5th. She's going to drop behind maybe even Sharvatova into 7th. And Leinamo is in the 7th spot. Simone drops behind her into 8th at 58.9 seconds back. Back to Lisa Theresa Hauser. Trying to dig herself out of the basement a la Emilienne Claude, but that miss is just going to make it that much harder.
Well, looking at the course time, even Hauser is a little bit further down the order. Of course, Bryza-Boucher, the fastest on lap 1, the fastest on lap 2, and Batovska-Fialkova just in there behind Bryza-Boucher, but having the fastest lap time on course 3. Of course, we haven't seen Bryza-Boucher through that point yet.
Here's Lisa Vitozzi now in her second shooting stage. She's clean and fast from prone and leading by 5.1 seconds. But there's the first miss.
A lot of misses, and this really does stand in the favor of those who are skiing well, not getting the targets down. Bryza-Boucher could be on for a good one today.
But look at the time of Lisa Vitozzi with a miss. She's going to trail only by about 35, 36 seconds. And she has a miss compared to the 2 French women. She's still sitting in 4th. Here's Leinamo now with 3 misses from the prone position. Now her strength in shooting, historically.
Yeah, and also some complication again with the double ejection. Something we've seen quite a lot on this range just in this past couple of days. Quentin Fillon-Maillet had some trouble yesterday.
So Leinamo almost mounting the kind of surprise she did in the opening individual. In the short individual, drops 3 in the 3rd stage to fall out of contention as we go to Amy Basarga now in her 2nd stage. She's skiing well. She comes in 2.9 seconds in the lead. But that 1 miss will drop her down out of the top 10. And 2 now.
Yeah, an extra 45 seconds per miss. 1 minute 30 in total. But Lou Jean-Minot, having gone clean so far, has to stay composed. Follow her process. Don't be defensive behind the rifle.
She's running away with this event as long as she shoots better than Justine Bryza-Boucher, who's also clean through 2 stages. Jean-Minot wearing bib 30. Bryza-Boucher starting a minute behind her, so she'll be on the range momentarily as well. But staying perfect. This is the Lou Jean-Minot we know and love, and why she's wearing that yellow bib. And everybody having difficulty, but she makes it look easy.
Yeah, what a fantastic performance there, and hopefully for Lou Jean-Minot, a repeat of France's success yesterday.
Nobody clean besides Tomacheva, who is minutes slower on the skis than Jean-Minot, so she doesn't have a credible threat besides her own teammates right now. As Leah Maya comes across the line with 17 for 20 on the day, in the lead by 4:13 over Yakiela, your early leader at the finish. Here's Bryza-Boucher now. Perfect through 10 shots. Leads by 2.7 seconds. Not much. Well, it's good, but not perfect. And Justine Bryza-Boucher will lose the lead to her teammate Lou Jean-Minot. She'll try to battle that back in the final shooting stages. Anna Vidal misses 2 for Germany from bib 16.
And you know, Bryza-Boucher is skiing quite a lot faster than Jean-Minot. 11 seconds lap 1, 6 seconds lap 2, or thereabouts, as Franziska Preuss goes 10 for 10.
This is going to be a good time. She's going to actually take down Brysa Boucher's time if she can get. She's still got a ways to go. She's at 19 seconds in the lead now, but she's got to get to that red line. Bryce is on the left side of your screen in the black uniform. She's 12 seconds now, but she will take the lead. And this is the Francisca Preuss who's been waiting to show up. And she does today here in Nove Mesto. New leader after 2 shootings. But you're saying, as you were pointing out, Scott, shooting 3, Brysa Boucher has 1 miss, but she's just 46 seconds back. You get 45 seconds for a miss. She and Jean Monod are separated by 1 second when you take the shooting out of consideration.
Tangevold now putting in some real hard work on this last lap. That's something she's always been capable of, is working so hard.
Not going to take the lead. She has too many penalties. Meyer also skiing very well. 3 penalties and going even with Tangevold here. But Tangevold will move for the moment into the 3rd spot ahead of Anna Gandler. Here now is the shooting of bib 36, Dorothea Veer. And she finally gets it clean.
Yeah, and I think there's an element of, well, what does it matter now? I've missed 4 already, and the pressure's off. Just get the targets down. But that was really lovely shooting from Dorothea Veer.
Meanwhile, bib 21, Anna Juppe up in the screen. She misses 3.
We're seeing a lot of 3s, and Sharvatova, we did see her as well, even though the crowd was there supporting. 3 mistakes on her last visit.
Polona Klemencic with 3 penalties already accrued, and a 4th was challenging the time of Meyer, but 2 more misses aren't going to help her cause, as she'll fall outside the top 5. Here now is the effort of Venla Lehtinen, bib number 9, heading towards the finish. 3 misses on the day, even shooting with Meyer, but going to fall outside the time of Meyer, so Meyer getting a little bit better. Finding the time on the shooting range in her shooting time and her ski time is Meyer.
Yeah, Meyer really having a cracking day on the skis. On lap 1, she was 19 seconds behind Brysa Boucher, but then it just gets closer and closer with each lap thereafter.
So as Venla Lehtinen comes to the line, and she'll move ahead of Tangevold for 3rd. Julia Simone trying to go clean from her 3rd shooting stage. She's got 1 miss on the day, and it stays that way. Still, her teammate Lou Jean Monod is clean to this point. And Simone actually chasing Vobornikova, the Czech athlete, who also has 1 miss. Well ahead of her now in 3rd. So it's France, France, France after 3 shooting stages. No surprise there, Scott.
No, that's impressive from the trio, but it just takes 1 miss from Jean Monod to get her in trouble with Brysa Boucher. Like you said, just 46 seconds back. This really is fantastic shooting from Anastasia Tomasheva of Romania. 20 out of 20, and could be one of the very few to achieve that today.
And it might be a big personal best, too. Her best ever is 32nd, and she's going to come across the line for the moment in 4th. 105 back. That is a outsized performance by the veteran from Romania.
Yeah, excellent race. She's going to be extremely proud of that, I imagine. Vitozzi making some changes, but actually undoing the change, noticing that the flags resettled.
Oh, but it results in a miss. Oh, another one. Sights might have been just a little off there, Scott. Justin might not have been the right one.
Yeah, and Vobornikova there also getting 4 out of 5 in her last visit.
So Vitozzi with 3 penalties now will fall outside the top 10, outside the top 8. She'll fall spot. And Vobornikova behind her will fall into the 5th spot ahead of Vitozzi. Looking at the efforts now of Jean Richard in her final shooting stage, trying to keep it 17 for 20 on the hit record. There's another miss, though. Just can't expect 80% to do it for a skier like Jean Richard.
Yeah, not a good day. 5 mistakes on the range, but Lou Jean Monod can do it with 20 out of 20.
Oh, she's got a miss. And make it interesting, at least.
It certainly will. Wow.
Still with one miss, way outside the time of Vobornikova. Going to be at least a minute 30, if not more, in the lead. So Jean Monod, after all shooting is done, it leads by a minute and 35 seconds. She's the first on the course of the red group, so she's going to have to race people behind her because nobody ahead of her is even close.
Yeah, and Breza Boucher is 40 seconds down, but that's having missed one more, so technically that's 5 seconds ahead, and you can see her in the top right screen as she fights to potentially claim a victory. She needs all the targets to go down. Michelon goes clear. Big moment for Breza Boucher. She needs his last shot.
Huge shooting stage for Justine Breza Boucher because she's got the power. We're watching the time of Ocean Michelon, but we really need to follow is the shooting performance and the exit of the range for Justine Breza Boucher. She's got the lead right now. Jean Monod missed in the final shoot, and Breza Boucher missed hers in the third, and it's ever so tight. 1.1 seconds between the two French women.
Absolutely amazing. And Breza Boucher on every single lap but one to this point has skied faster than Lou Jean Monod. And that was on the lap 3 where she was 0.9 seconds down off Fialkova, but only 0.4 seconds down off Lou Jean Monod.
And don't forget Franziska Preuss. She has a chance here. She's only 2 seconds trailing, but there's a miss, and that's going to push her back. She's going to have the same shooting as Jean Monod and Breza Boucher, and it comes down to a ski race now between the two Frenchmen and the German, if the German can stay close. Anna Magnussen, with 2 misses on the day, comes into her final shooting stage. She's trailing by 144.
But this could still be a really good result for Anna Magnussen now. We've seen a lot of misses from some of the biggest names out there today, and so far, so good on this last shoot. She needs this final shot. She gets it.
Great stuff. We've seen Anna Magnussen so consistent all season long. She wore the yellow bib for the opening period 1. Hasn't had a podium since then. She's been 7th, has been her best. I don't think it's going to be a podium today. It's going to be, well, she's going to be a podium for now. But a lot of whether she'll stay on the podium will have to do with Franziska Preuss.
Yeah, she's averaging about 8 seconds slower ski speed every single lap behind Breza Boucher, Anna Magnussen till this point.
Suvi Minkinen with uncharacteristic poor shooting. 3 misses already through 15. And Dorothea Viera adds another miss to her tally. But doing some damage control. Suvi Minkinen goes clean on the final shooting stage. Or on the third shooting stage, excuse me.
And if she can maintain this momentum now, Minkinen, and get 5 out of 5 in the last stand shoot, and well, now she has an opportunity to ski alongside Dorothea Viera, who's no slouch on the skis, there could be an opportunity for Minkinen to have a good result today.
Yeah, she leaves shooting 3 in 17th spot. 225 back. Back out on course is Lisa Theresa Hauser. Coming to the finish, she's hit 16 of 20, which is not spectacular.
So impressed with Meyer's time. It's stood the test of time. She's still leading up there at the front. Started bid number 3, and some big names have come through and not managed to pose her.
So Lisa Theresa Hauser trying to move ahead of Baiba Bendica, and she won't do that, but she will just get Tomacheva of Romania and move into 6th spot. A wet winter evening in Nove Mesto. coming to an exciting conclusion as on the final stage, Julia Simone misses her first shot of 5 to make it her second miss of the day. And she'll go 18 for 20 and will not challenge Jean Monod and will likely not challenge Magnussen either with a podium spot, at least leaving the range in the for the fourth time. Here's Teresa Bornikova now. Bornikova 18 for 20, leading at 11.6 kilometers by 25.8 seconds. So trying to take the victory or take the top spot from Leah Meyer, who's held it for most of the evening so far. To the line, she comes in 27.4 seconds into the lead. Teresa Bornikova, not likely to be on the podium when all is said and done, but maybe the best of the rest.
She's hiding from the crowd there. It's so painful when you finish a race. You forget how much pain there really is. But there's Lou Jean Monod through the fog doing her unique V2, skate 2, one skate up this hill, driving back with the elbows, and so strong because that is not a shallow hill. It's very, very steep, and she's cleared the way on the left-hand side of our screen now, wearing the yellow bib.
Jean Monod, as Lisa Vitozzi shoots her final shooting stage, Jean Monod skiing through traffic. She led by 1.1 seconds after shooting 4 and trailed at 10.8 kilometers to Bryce Aboucher by 1 second. And Bryce Aboucher and Jean Monod at 11.6 are tied to the 10th of a second. So Jean Monod, trying to find every ounce of speed she can, comes across the line 143.2 ahead. And her teammate, who started a minute behind her, is on the track, and they're tied with 0.4 of a kilometer to go. Or 0.9 of a kilometer to go, excuse me.
Yeah, at the 10.8 kilometer mark, Jean Monod is 1 second behind Bryce Aboucher. And then at the 11 kilometer mark, it's the same. So they're skiing at such a similar pace right now. Jean Monod found something really special on that last lap.
Meanwhile, Lisa Vitozzi checks in at 6th spot out the final shooting stage with 3 total misses on the day.
And this is everything for Bryce Aboucher now. She needs to find something to just get that extra bit of time up on Lou Jean Monod. She had a clear run all the way up that big hill, whereas Jean Monod did not.
Coming to the line, Justine Bryce Aboucher has 4 seconds to get there. It's going to be ever so tight. She comes across the line, 1.4 seconds in the lead, and that will be her first victory of the season for Justine Bryce Aboucher. An absolute drag race between the two best Frenchwomen on the skis, and it was down to the wire. Maria Remenova comes across the line into 6th. That's a great performance for the Slovakian. But after all that, each with a miss, Bryce Aboucher ends up on top of the heap. Océane Michelin in her final shooting stage now, and starts that with a miss. So 3 misses total for her. She's skiing well, but 2 misses now from the final shooting, and she'll fall likely outside the top 10.
And somebody who's gone completely under the radar now, Siri Skar of Norway, at the 11.6 kilometer mark of this 12.5 kilometer race, is in 4th place, having only missed 1, and just in behind Anna Magnussen, who's on your screen right now.
Magnussen heading towards the finish with 2 misses on the day. Skar with 1. She started bib 33. Anna Magnussen's coming to the line, and at the finish, Magnussen has already gone past Skar, who started 30 seconds ahead of her, but she has 2 misses, whereas Skar has 1. So Magnussen comes across the line into the third spot, the final medal position, and waiting anxiously to see where Skar stacks up when she comes to the finish now. She should be within sight of the finish line. Here's Siri Skar now. She's fallen out of the podium contention, and now chasing Bornikova for the 4th spot, as Franziska Preuss is 4 for 4 on this last shooting stage, and she misses a second shot and likely drops the chance at victory for certain, and maybe even a podium spot for Preuss. She trailed 55 seconds coming back into the shooting range.
What a race there from Skar of Norway. She'll be absolutely thrilled with that. The 22-year-old managing to pull out something special on that short individual. It's not easy shooting conditions, as we've seen with so many misses. 19 out of 20 on the day.
Preuss with a good ski on the course right now. She leaves the fourth shooting stage 51.7 seconds back of Jean Monod in third place. And if she'd hit that last shot, it would have been she would have been trailing by a mere 3.7 seconds.
Oh, that's painful, and she'll look back at that and she will understand just how close it was. But she's such a super talent. I can expect to see her rising to form at the Olympic Games for sure. Well,
had she hit that shot, we would have had a gripping final lap here. Still going to be gripping, but not quite as much as it would be for the win, because Preuss now just has to hold off Magnussen and Skar and Haki Gross. Lena Haki Gross is on this, throwing her hat in the ring too, hitting 19 for 20. Where did she come from? She has been largely absent from the front of the field all season long, has Haki Gross. But right before the Olympics, comes in and throws down a bid for a podium finish. She trails Preuss at shooting 4 by 8.4 seconds. Julia Simone now coming to the line.
She has to work hard because right behind her, Lisa Vitozzi is only 7 seconds down at the 11.6 checkpoint.
So Vitozzi and Simone fighting for the flower ceremony. Simone moves into fifth place. Vorbornikova in sixth behind her, just under 6 seconds back. Now it's Vitozzi. Bib 71 on your screen in the Azzurri blue of the Italian team. And she's got Lena Haki Gross hanging to her. She's caught and past Gross, or Haki Gross has Lisa Vitozzi, but still Haki Gross is the better shooting of the two of them. Here's Preuss now. The big climb, 53.1 seconds back. She's made 2 seconds on Jean Monod at this point. It's mostly just a race for third.
Yeah, she started really fast. Fourth fastest ski time on the first lap, 10th on the second lap, 21st on the third, 25th on the fourth. She's getting tired.
So fatigued as she heads towards the finish line. Lisa Vitozzi now going to fall outside the time of Skar, who went 19 for 20, chasing the time of Simone. This is good skiing from Vitozzi, considering that Simone has one fewer miss, and Vitozzi won't move ahead of Simone, but she'll move into the sixth and final flower ceremony spot for now. Haki Gross still out on course, and Preuss trying to move past Vitozzi, which should push her out of the flower ceremony.
Yeah, she's been skiing around about the 40th fastest on each lap, so certainly not up there in ski speed today, but with 19 out of 20, that's what these races are all about, and what a great performance from Lena Haki Gross.
She's going to move into the fourth spot ahead of Skar, who has had a spectacular performance here for Norway. And don't forget Amy Beserga. Skiing well, but the three misses are really weighing heavily now. The coulda, shoulda, woulda of the sport ever present, and that is the case for Amy Beserga today, with just probably one or two shots a miss that she should have, that if she had connected, would have found herself on the podium today. But she's going to fall into the 9th spot at the finish, just ahead of her teammate Leah Meyer in 10th.
Dieter Irwin, top right of your screen now, after having cleared the first 15 shots. What a shame. But still, phenomenal shooting there from Irwin.
19 for 20 for Deidre Irwin for the United States. She had an opportunity. She was playing with a top 5 finish there. As we go to Tamara Steiner, bib 70 from the third shooting stage. She's also clean through 10. A lot of athletes late in the start are still the shot here, Scott.
Yeah, and shooting well. It seems like the later starters perhaps are meeting a bit more fortune in terms of shooting conditions, whether that's the wind or the visibility. It's hard to know.
Here's Oceane Michelin with 4 misses on the day. 227 back, she'll slide into the 11th position.
Marlene Fichtner of Germany today has missed 2 targets, one in her first prone, one in her first stand, but in the 3 races prior, she hadn't missed a single one, so 50 out of 50 before she came into this race today.
Fichtner with a shooting score, 2 misses coming into the final shooting stage for the German, and she keeps it at 2 misses. She's in 14th right now, leaving the shooting range, but her teammate now trying to put herself on the podium. Franziska Preuss has had a rough start to the season. She is known for having to fight illness or injury, and she hasn't been on the podium. The World Cup overall winner by the narrowest of margins last year, trying to get her first podium of the season, and for now it looks like she's going to do it. She's got 10 seconds to get to the line ahead of Magnussen, and she will move into the 3rd spot, but is there anybody that can challenge her coming from further back in the starter order? Right now, Sidorowicz of Poland is over 35 seconds back of Preuss, but here's Fichtner now.
Yeah, it's really impressive. To be able to hit 10 out of 10 or 100% in any race is hard, but to do it 3 times in a row, it really shows talent. And very, very few have actually managed it 4 races in a row. But today, Marlene Fichtner having to settle for 90%.
Settling for 90% is a relative term.
Especially as the conditions were so tricky as they were today.
Well, Marlene Fichtner is not going to get a podium, but she's going to get her PR today. She's 12th right now, likely to stay inside the top 20. Her best ever performance prior to today for the German is 31st in the Hochfilzen Pursuit last season. So a new high water mark set by Marlene Fichtner, who has spent most of her time on the IBU Cup, and it's going to feel good to have that in her resume. As Suvi Vinkinen now, the number 2 ranked skier biathlete in the world right now, comes across the line with a relatively ho-hum shooting performance of 16 hits out of 20 shots, and will hold down 17th place for now. Let's pull up the live World Cup results and let's watch the updates there. Here now is Aita Gasparin, 18 for 20, comes across the line in 12th, 217.8 back of Justine Brassard-Boucher, who was spectacular today on the skis and the range. 19 for 20 on a tough shooting day under the lights of Nove Mesto na Morave, the Vysočina Arena. This an area in which boasts 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, all in a tight space here. Lots of history. And I learned this week the home of the great composer Gustav Mahler. Coming to the finish now is Kamila Czuk of Poland. 16 hits on the day, and she comes across 310 back into 21st. So we're going to go back and see who is, if anybody is mounting any.
Well, you said before, Chad, Sidorowicz, she's in 8th place at the moment at the 10.8, and Julia Simon is in 7th place, currently 9 seconds ahead of her, but also skiing faster. So I think for Sidorowicz, that's going to be some challenge to get to place number 7. But for Deidre Irwin, currently in 11th place at the 11.6K mark, could potentially get onto Amy Basurga's time in 10th place, but she needs to claim back 10 seconds between the 11.6 and the finish.
Here now is the time of Tamara Steiner, trying to move into the top 10, threatening at 8th place at 9.1 kilometers. She's coming up on the time of Basurga, and she's going to take it. She's going to move into 8th. So the Austrian, Steiner, with a huge performance for her today from bib 70. She was 13th in the World Championships in the sprint here in 2024, as we watch now Margie Fried in her final shooting stages. She's had a good day on the shooting range, relatively speaking. 2 misses before this final stop.
Taking her time, resetting after that first shot, and it didn't pay off for the second. Four seconds between those shots is a long time, but a worthwhile wait to get 4 out of 5 on the final visit for Margie Fried.
Here's Lydia Mettler of Switzerland now at the 8.3 kilometer mark. Finding herself fighting for a top 20 place. She's still got a lap and a half of skiing left and another point to the shooting range. She's very late in the start order as Dieter Irwin comes across the line now into 11th, matching her performance at the World Championships here in this discipline 2 years ago. She was 11th in the same event, hit 19 for 20. Little deja vu for her. Same shooting score, same place 2 years later. But going to still struggle to stay in 11th as she's got Sidorovic, Mettler, and Steiner all out on course still, trying to push her down the order. Steiner looks probable to do that. As we now go back to Sidorovic. At the finish, same shooting time or same shooting score as Dieter Irwin, 1 miss on the day. Skar is going to avoid Sidorovic, but I don't think Dieter Irwin will. Skar will survive as well, and then the next athlete that Sidorovic is chasing is Simone. She's going to fall outside the time of Simone as well, and Vitozzi, and possibly Vobornikova. So Sidorovic moves into the 10th spot, Irwin down into 12th. Here now is Tamara Steiner. She's 15 for 15 and challenging the top 3 times. Clean shooting could make this Tamara Steiner's most exciting day of her life. And she gets up 20 for 20 for Tamara Steiner from way back in the field, bib 70.
And really, that is such great composure. Only one other has managed to get the perfect 20 out of 20 today. That's Tomasheva of Romania. So what a great performance from Tamara Steiner today.
Steiner, after shooting 4, moves into the 6th spot, and she's on the flower ceremony. If she can hold the less than 3 seconds she has on Skar, the debutante from Norway. Here's bib 77. Mettler into 16th with another shooting stage still to go.
You can really see the gravity of the stadium here, and all the fans wrapped around the range, and it echoes and reverberates when they cheer. And Plechikova is going to experience the full wrath of that volume as she tries to focus for her last 5 shots. Come on, one more. Excellent shooting. Really great composure there from Plechikova to manage that as the crowd roars this late in the race. Fantastic shooting.
Ilona Plechikova, you never know when you're going to get this chance again. 19 years of age. A huge performance for her as she leaves the shooting range. She's going to be in the top 15. She's going to fall outside the time of Aita Gasparant, but move inside the time of Leah Meyer. Plechikova 15th. Out on the last loop of skiing for the 19-year-old. Here's the effort of Theresa Steiner now. Or Tamara Steiner, I should say. Tamara Steiner, perfect 20 for 20, chasing the time of Preuss in the final podium spot. She's going to fall outside that time.
She has the benefit of information as well. The coaches will be telling her exactly where she stands it just comes down to her physical capacity. What can she do differently to increase the pace? And she can pick her line, but 1 minute 10 back, still in 6th place, but 8 seconds ahead of Skar of Norway.
Yeah, this is great for Steiner. Her personal best finish of her career is 13th in Östersund in the individual 2 years ago. Here's Lydia Mettler now on the shooting range for the final time. She's missed 1 of 15. Not likely to hold on to a top 10 even clean shooting here, but still an intriguing performance from Bib 77 of 93.
Yeah, and that's even though the weather, or the snow conditions are even more challenging now than they were at the start.
Now we know she's a left-handed shooter. What disadvantage or advantage do you have from shooting left-handed?
What a shame, that last shot there. And it's marginal, only in the sense that the range is somewhat designed for right-handed shooters. So they come into the mat, and then it's just they arrive face-on, whereas left-handed shooters have to do a snowplow and swivel onto the mat. But Simonator proved, being the fastest shooter for many, many, many years, that it's almost no disadvantage if you work hard to eliminate the variable.
Back out on course with 19-year-old Ilona Plechakova of Czech Republic. She's 19 for 20 and enjoying the cheers of her home crowd as she is trying to have her first ever top 15 finish. She's right in position to do that.
The last year at the Youth Junior or the Youth World Championships, she took the victory in the individual, and that was after having missed 3 targets, so skiing incredibly fast.
That's on the junior circuit. This is the World Cup, and her best race to date is 68th, so quite a bit inside that.
Oh, wow.
Quite a bit inside her personal
talent.
best.
Yeah.
Ilona Plechakova, the 19-year-old, and that's the way a 19-year-old might burst onto the scene with a great performance, is the way Plechakova is doing it today. Tamara Steiner also throwing down an outsized performance for her resume. Steiner trying to stay in the top 6.
Oh, doing a great job so far. She's got 1 second to play with, and the last time we saw her, she had 8 seconds, which means till this point she's lost 7. And that's going to be a tough ask, that she doesn't lose any more time coming in towards the finish. But most of it's downhill, except for the final climb before the sprint finish.
You know, Hannah Kempinger for Germany comes across the line into the top 40, finishing 39th, 1 spot ahead of Hannah Gondler with 5 misses on the day. So we're watching still Steiner out on course. Bib 70. She's trying to take on the time of Bib 33, Siri Skar. Skar's personal best is 27th in the sprint and Rupe holding earlier this season. So here's Hannah Alcanthaler, 4 misses on the day, trying to stay in the top 30, challenging Tandervold's time. So good ski performance by Hannah Alcanthaler. Hannah Alcanthaler now coming to the finish line. 3:37 back. She'll be 30th spot. Doesn't look thrilled. Obviously a very... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 2 at the start, 2 at the end. Perfect in the middle, but Tamara Steiner, she was perfect throughout. What a fantastic race for her.
And she's going to get the flower ceremony for now, and I think that will probably do it. She will supplant the Norwegian Tamara Steiner with a huge PB today.
Wow. Yeah, and she managed to not just maintain that time over Skar, which she was losing by the meter, but she actually managed to open it up by a couple seconds to the finish. Great work.
And as the only clean shooter in the field that is fit, that Tamara Steiner gets the flower ceremony. I don't see any credible threat to that outcome left on the course. You got Plechakova, but she's fighting for 15th, the top 15 finish. And that's what you love about biathlon, is you see these huge swings in the ability of especially the athletes who are still developing, finding new ground for them to tread and conquer. a nice little thing to follow too is the efforts of Janice Grundall, a 25-year-old Canadian who is clean through 3 shooting stages and trying to stay in the top 50 in her World Cup debut. Back out on course, though, now we focus our attention on Ilona Plechakova, the 19-year-old. Previous World Cup best, 68th. And she's playing with 15th right now. She's going to fall outside the time of the veteran of Switzerland, Aita Gasparin, and now challenging the time of Fichtner. Fichtner trying to hold on, and she does. But Plechakova will drop into the 18th spot, and the crowd knows and loves it from the 19-year-old.
Yeah, what a fantastic result. It's been brewing now for a long time after her success at the Youth World Championships. She still, of course, has Junior World Championships to go for many years, and I can expect to see her come away from the Youth Junior World Championships with some medals this coming season.
Yeah, Plechakova has, at 19, still has several years of, and look at the emotion. Almost can't believe it. In front of a hometown crowd, tears of joy for the young.
It's so athlete. Loud. Fantastic. What a moment for any athlete to experience in front of your home crowd. Thousands of people roaring.
Absolutely. To rise to the level, hit 19 for 20 on a cold, rainy winter day in your home country, under the lights, under such huge noise. Lydia Mettler now trying to move as well into a top position at the finish line. An 18 for 20 shooting score for Mettler. Mettler's personal best before today is a 74th in World Cup competition. This is going to be a big swath of territory taken by Lydia Mettler. She comes in and finishes a personal best of 24th for now, and she should stay there.
In ahead of Dorothea Vera, that is a scalp she'll be delighted to have taken.
There is Mettler through some foggy glasses. Things winding down. Go ahead.
Yeah, surprising result for me, Chad, was actually Tangervold with 3 mistakes down in 30th place behind many, such as Bendika, who missed 5. So off the pace in terms of skiing for Tangervold today, but hopefully her form will rise up with each passing day come the Olympics.
And just running through as we watch Hanna-Britta Kosick of Estonia comes in with 2 misses and adds a third. Estonian men on the rise for sure. Hanna-Britta Kosick coming out of the shooting range. And she'll move into the 76th spot ahead of Nordqvist.
Well, Chad, I've got one of the most interesting facts about the Swedish team today. Skottheim, she finished in 37th, and that was with 4 mistakes. And Heidenberg with 7 mistakes all the way in 57th. But Heidenberg had the 4th fastest course time of the day.
Aisha Rakisheva, 90th of 93 starters on the shooting range now for Kazakhstan. And she will try to better her personal best of 85th at the World Championships in Lenzerheide last year in the sprint. Natalia Kosegina, the final starter of the day's competition, she winds up the day with 7 total penalties and will attack this final 3 kilometer or 2.5 kilometer loop to finish up the second day of competition in Nove Mesto under humid skies and not terribly dense fog, but a little bit of a slight drizzle. And most of these competitions happening at night. We'll be back tomorrow for the mixed relay and single mixed relay. Single mixed relay will kick things off at 1:15 Central European time in the afternoon. That is 7:15 a.m. on the east coast of North America. And then the mixed relay, the final test of these teams going into the Olympic Games in the Olympic discipline of the mixed relay, which will start the Olympic Games for biathlon, will take place at 9:10 East Coast European or East Coast North America time, and 3:10 in the afternoon in Central European time in Nove Mesto Namorave, the local time. Today, though, it was a French victory and first of the year for Justine Brassard-Boucher. And coming into this season, or coming into today's competition, she had a total of 13 victories. This will be her 14th, and the third in the individual for her. So Brassard-Boucher, having had success in this individual competition, I think based on the up and down shooting scores that we are used to seeing from Justine Brassard-Boucher, she's never really expected to be one of the best, but she can pull it off, and when she does, her ski speed's always there. You never worry about her ski speed, but if she puts together a 19 for 20 shot day on a tricky day on the range, you know she's going to be up near the top, and today she is the top, beating her teammate by the narrowest of margins in the end, 1.4 seconds to the margin of victory between Justine Brassard-Boucher and Jean-Louis Jamineau, and Franziska Preuss, the best of the rest, 4 seconds ahead of Anna Magnussen to take the third and final podium spot, her first podium finish of the season.
Another great shooting from Makarova, 19 out of 20. Putting in a really powerful sprint finish over that awfully steep hill. It's almost cruel having that before the finish line.
Aliona Makarova with 42 World Cup starts, and she's coming to the line to try to put down her best finish of her career. She's been 35th in Oslo. Not going to be a PB today for Aliona Makarova, but a good performance nonetheless. 19 for 20. Comes across the line in 43rd spot, which is her second best of her career.
Well, she was 101st in Brezno on the IBU Cup just a couple weeks ago. So to go from 101st on IBU Cup to that result today is 43rd is certainly nothing to scoff at.
Here is Raya Ajamova from Bulgaria. 6 misses on the day for 14 for 20. Comes in the 82nd, right ahead of Greta Gaim of Estonia.
The youngest biathlete in the race.
18 years of age. Here's Emily Dixon, who has the most experience in the World Cup of the athletes on the start today. She's going to come in for 79th place, 724.3 back. The Canadian Olympic team already chosen. These are the IBU Cup starters. There were 4 Canadians on the start today. Emily Dixon, Moira Green in her first World Cup start, just Janice Grumdahl and Jillian Gowling, all 3 of them in their first World Cup debut.
Really good work from Dixon to come back from a pretty poor start, 50% hit rate in the first 10, but then to get the last 10, it's not an easy thing to do to regain that focus, so well done to her.
Andrea Mezdrea now of Romania. Hit 16 for 20 and trails. Going to follow outside the time of the pole. And Zurauskaite of Lithuania will fall to the Romanian in 74th. Zurauskaite back down into 75th. Of the 93 starters, looks like we have one DNS in Langel of Switzerland, bib 59, did not start. Longtime shooting coach Patrick Favre competed for Italy, but he is from the Valley of Aosta, where they speak both French and Italian, and he has been a long-time now shooting coach for France after over a decade in that position for the Italian team. Here's Hanna-Britta Kosick now of Estonia. She'll come across in 79th spot.
Fastest shooting today came from Julia Simon. She was 8th overall with 2 mistakes, but it only took her 1 minute and 34 seconds to shoot all of her 20 rounds today. Lisa Matozzi, the second fastest, with 1:37.
Anything in that range, that 1:30 range, is pretty quick for 4 shooting stages. You know that you're averaging well under 30 seconds. Here is Rakisheva into 84th spot.
I think that's one of the main things with the individual, is that it almost encourages the biathletes to shoot slower when the usual routine works in sprints, it works in pursuits, and sometimes deviating from that can actually draw more attention to whether the target is a hit or a miss. So I find personally sticking to the routine that works is sometimes the best strategy.
Just looking at our English speakers, just going to try to do a little recon of that group. So we have relatively solid performance by Team USA in this individual competition. Nothing to get excited about as far as medals, but Didier Irwin with a 19 for 20 in 13th. Margie Fried hitting 17 for 20 in 31st. For the United States, they are the top 2 English-speaking finishers, and the United States round out the top 3 with Joanne Reed in the 60th spot. Of course, there's no pursuit off of this individual, but if there were, all 3 Americans would be advancing. Darcy Morton from Australia, 71st, with a 16 for 20 shooting performance. And out on course, we're still waiting for Jillian Gowling and Janice Grumdahl, both coming into the finish, and Gowling's currently trying to race into the top 75. She's in 72nd spot at the 11.6 kilometer mark. And still on the course as well is Grundahl. She is in 87th at the 11.6 kilometer mark. And Emily Dixon for Canada is in the finish in 81st right now. So a couple Canadians making their way to the finish line, and then we're all done and wrapped up after day 2 of this World Cup stop in Nove Mesto, Norave. As you see, Andi Birnbacher, the great German biathlete and now coach for the women's team, enjoying his time in Nove Mesto, Norave. We'll be back momentarily with the flower ceremony. Janice Grundahl coming into the finish line for Canada into 87th position in her first World Cup start. And those first World Cup starts, Scott, they're always they're nervy stuff.
Oh, they certainly are, especially when you do it in front of so many fans. But Grundahl there giving a big wave to everybody, and that's the right way to approach it.
So with her first World Cup start in the books, Janet Grundahl also brings this race to conclusion. And Justine Barrestad-Boucher, by the narrowest of margins, one missed shot on the day, 1.4 seconds ahead of World Cup overall leader Lou Jean-Minot. Francisca Preuss takes her first podium of the season, 102 back, and Anna Magnusson just off the podium again for fourth spot on the finishing order. And Magnusson fourth. Lena Häcki-Gross, who we haven't seen really do all that much this season, comes back with a good, right before the Olympics, Lena Häcki-Gross posts a fifth place in the short individual, and her team, her neighbor to her alpine neighbor, Tamar Steiner from Bib 70 with a spectacular flower ceremony, 20 for 20 hits, and a huge PR for her. Siri Skar in seventh, personal best seventh. Julia Simone eighth. Lisa Vitozzi ninth. And number 10, the Czechs get an athlete in the top 10 in their home World Cup, and that is Vobornikova.
Yeah,
Vobornikova into the 10th spot in the final standings today.
Interesting that Lena Häcki-Gross had one of her first victories in this short individual, and that was at Antolz at the World Cup, which is of course where the Olympics is going to be, and that has good connotations for the upcoming weeks, where she could have a little bit of a confidence boost, but she's going to have to ski faster because she was down in the overall ski speed, late 40s.
Yeah, Häcki-Gross, I notice, is slower than she has been in recent years, but when she peaks at the right time, she can certainly be a medalist. As we've seen here, she has one individual win, like you said, in Antolz, which was 2 years ago. And if she hits it right, you never know. But there are the World Cup total score standings now. Lou Jean-Minot, no change at the top of the leaderboard between the top two. Marin Ciricaita stays in third. And just looking at the Jean-Minot with a total of 793 points. The mover today was Magnusson moves up from, supplants Elvira Uberg in fifth. It moves from sixth to fifth, and Elvira Uberg, who's not here to fight, is dropped to sixth spot now. And Justine Barrestad-Boucher, the big move. 3 places up to seventh now, and moves ahead of her teammate Camille Benet. Vitozzi in ninth, and Dorothy Veer running at the top 10 overall standings.
A big day today for the Swedes as well, with Scottheim and Heidenberg really battling it out. But it's tough. Scottheim's 37th place really isn't so profound that you would take a risk on her over Heidenberg, who had the fourth fastest ski speed but missed 7. That's a really tricky one for the Swedish selectors.
Yeah.
Of course, there's more races to go to make that call.
But I'm not sure. So looking at the overall standings, Heidenberg is in 38th. Scottheim in 86th. Heidenberg might get in the mass start, but not likely. If she needs, well, in 38th, she needs to see where she is right now. Heidenberg might get in to Sunday's competitions, depending on where she ends up at the end of the day here. I'm trying to see on the World Cup total score here. Live one. Heidenberg is in. Let's see here. Heidenberg is in 38th, and there might be enough absences that she moves into a start spot for Sunday. But Scottheim, well down the order, just from lack of starts. She may not get a chance to battle this Sunday. But Swedish coaching staff going to have to make some decisions here. It's going to be tough.
Not easy ones. I don't envy them.
But Anna Magnusson with a fourth place finish today has to. She has likely solidified her spot into the individual start in the Olympic Games with that performance today. Magnussen was 9th in the opening individual and finishing 4th today. Puts her probably in the top spot for the Swedish team of the quartet that will go out and start. And they're going to be good because they're going to have Hanna Uberg and Elvira Uberg along with Anna Magnussen in that individual start.
Justine, congratulations. What a great performance to get the first win of your season and so tight in front of your good friend. So how did it feel?
I'm really pleased, to be fair. It's, I think for the win as well, but I mean, it's good for me to, go on with this shoot, especially because, today 19 out of 20 is really good. It was a good battle with Lou as well, and yeah, it means something to win on the individual because I have to say that Lou laughed yesterday when she asked me if I ever get a medal, a world medal on the world champ. And I answered, my first one was in individual, so she laughed for a few minutes, she didn't trust me. And this is the first thing she said to me at the very end. I shouldn't laugh about you.
I don't know if you believe in numbers, but 4 years ago, before the Olympics, you also didn't have a victory. You got it in individual. Now the same.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm quite in shape. It was tough on the track. It was hard, but I keep patient till the very beginning of the season, and now I'm just really pleased. And sharing podium with Lou and Francisca as well is a good podium today, I think.
Congratulations.
Well, it didn't sound like Lou Jean-Minot took her seriously, but it's what I was kind of alluding to. If you don't pay close attention, a lot of these athletes don't pay close attention to what their teammates have done. And when Justine Marcel-Boucher told Jean-Minot that she's won 2 individuals, she didn't believe her. And I get that. I get where she comes up with that, because if you look at Justine Marcel-Boucher's statistics, 83 and 81% shooting this year. It's just not really been there, and she's actually shooting better than she ever has at 82% this year. Now you're seeing the individual World Cup scores as Jean-Minot leads Dorothea Viera now 130 to 106. Justine Marcel-Boucher in to third. From no points at all to 90 in the third spot with those 90 points. And you see the recap of Lou Jean-Minot now, signifying the continued lead of the overall World Cup. Approaching 8 in the evening in Nove Mesto, and final or second of 4 days of competition, the women's short individual podium ceremony. a nice podium, as Justine Bressat says.
v rámci světového poháru v biatlonu v Novém Městě na Moravě. Srdečně zdravíme a vítáme předávající za Mezinárodní biatlonovou unii. Je to pan Tim Farčník. Srdečně zdravíme a vítáme pana Jiřího Běhounka, radního kraje Vysočina pro zdravotnictví, emeritního hejtmana, který zakládal Vysočina arénu, a na domácím stanovišti je s námi samozřejmě starosta Nového Města na Moravě, pan Michal Šmarda. Congratulations on the third place to the team of Germany! Třetí místo Franciska Preussová, Německo.
Perhaps the most patient biathlon champion of recent times, and maybe of all time, is Franziska Preuss, looking for signs that she can win an Olympic gold medal. Today she gets it. Her first podium of the season, right before the Olympic Games. Perfect timing. And the skiing is back to the top level. The shooting is back to the top level. Nearly challenging for the win with one miss in the final stage. But Franziska Preuss suddenly is relevant again after a rough start to the season. And the Lou Jean-Monod train just keeps rolling. It's not a win today, but nearly a win. Just 1.4 seconds behind her teammate Lou Jean-Monod for a second spot. And Jean-Monod can do it all. And she continues to this season. She's already accrued 3 victories and adds her 5th or 6th podium to the season today. We heard the reporter in the questions that Justine Bressat didn't have a win going into the Beijing 2022 Olympic Games either until the final World Cup stop before Beijing. And as if on cue, she steps into the limelight and avoids all the discussion about the Olympic hopefuls and all the hubbub and shows up just in time. These 3 athletes emerging right when they need to at the top of the order going into the Olympic Games. And Scott, this should be a spectacular battle between these 3 in the Olympics.
Yeah, with Bressat Boucher skiing so quickly, Jean-Monod so reliable, consistent in all elements, it's impossible to call, and that's how we like it in biathlon.
Of course, they're going to have to contend with the Uberg sisters, who are off training in high-altitude locations. Maren Cirkite not here as well. But they better the Italian duo of Lisa Vitozzi and Dorothea Vera. Vitozzi finishes 9th today, and Vera weighed on in 25th. So not a great day for the Italians. The best of the rest for Sweden, Anna Magnusson, is stepping into the 4th spot on the podium ceremony. And then a couple of feel-good moments as Lena Häcki-Gross emerges as well for the first time this season into the flower ceremony in 5th. And Tamara Steiner, the surprise from Austria today, the perfect shooter on the day. One of just, I believe, 2 clean shooters on the field. She takes the 6th and final flower ceremony spot, the first of her career. These individual races, Scott, they're great for the stories like Tamara Steiner. They open the opportunity for the sport to go deeper. And with the 19 for 20 today, Steiner stands on the flower ceremony for the first time in her career.
Yeah, and Scar just so close as well. Another one of those names who we just haven't seen much of. And with an opportunity on the World Cup to show her form, and that's exactly what she did today as well.
That concludes day 2 of this stop in Nove Mesto na Moravě, Czech Republic. We'll see you here tomorrow for the exciting single mixed and mixed relays on day 3 of 4 from Nove Mesto. I'm Chad Salmo along with Scott Dixon. We say so long for now. We'll hope to see you tomorrow.